Awesome.
Yay!
That should be working now. Welcome everybody. Sorted the tech now in the background to another Friday Finance, just 15 short snippets of minutes for you to learn a little bit more about education around our finances, the stuff that we just weren't taught. And if anyone was on board last week, you would have heard us say that today we're going to be looking at critical illness cover. Now, this is a topic that we have some information about on our website. You might have heard us kind of drop it into conversation from time to time, but we've never actually done a fully focused snippet, webinar, anything on it. So I'm actually really excited because I feel like I've heard so much on the other topics now, being a part of VetYou, that I feel like I'm quite clued up. But on this one, I was like, you know what? I can't wait to answer, that'll be you, Ruth, to ask some of these questions.
Oh, yeah. Let's get everything critical illness cover.
Amazing. And again, a huge thanks for being here with us, Ruth. So tell us, what is critical illness cover?
So critical illness cover supports you financially if you're diagnosed with one of kind of the conditions that might be included on the policy. It's usually, there's three main types of ones that will cover for you for things like cancer or certain types of stages of cancer, strokes or heart attacks. It's a tax-free one-off payment that helps pay for like treatment, mortgages, rent or changes to your home, such as like wheelchair access or something like that, should you need it.
Wow. And I know even just hearing you speak there's a couple of questions that come straight out of that. What is considered a critical illness, Ruth? Is there a list that we can view somewhere, or does it depend per policy?
Well, the conditions and illnesses covered can vary significantly between like different types of insurers. The most comprehensive policies, so the ones that cover the most, cover like 50 different conditions or more, but others are much more limited. So like I've said, examples of critical illnesses that might be covered are certain types of cancer, stroke, heart attack, conditions such as multiple sclerosis, major organ transplant, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, traumatic head injury. So most policies will consider like permanent disabilities as a result of like injury or illness as well. And some policies will make a smaller payment for less severe conditions, or if like, for instance, if people have children, if one of the children has one of the specified conditions, things like that.
And you were saying it comes in a lump sum. How do they work out how much you're going to get? Do you have to put together like a plan of how it's affecting your life, or does it depend per condition, or is it a lot more complicated than just one of those things?
Yeah, it's how much cover you think you might need. So should you be diagnosed with something like that? So I'm going to take my example. I have critical illness cover that I took out, and mine was cost dependent. So I was like, how much can I afford to take out based on how much I have left per month and based out what that will give me. Now, there's lots of different things that are included, like my age, my health, stuff like that. So I have cover based on how much I think I may need. And pretty much for me, it's to cover something like a world cruise. So if something happens, that's it. I'm off on a worldwide cruise to see the world and enjoy myself. So it can also pay for things like that as well, just in case.
Amazing. And in terms of, I know we talk about a lot of different protection policies when we've done these finance chats. People have been on our webinars, they'll hear us talking about life insurance, critical illness cover, income protection, healthcare cash plans, health insurance, and we're trying to break those down bit by bit. But looking very specifically at critical illness cover, are there any particular people or circumstances that they should really have this on their radar and they should be starting to consider it?
Great question. I would look at things like, what is in your family history? Do you have any kind of quite serious conditions that in your family history that have had? Is anyone in like your family quite dependent heavily on your income? And it's for people like that might not have enough savings to tide them over if they become seriously ill or disabled, or if they don't have it in their employee benefits package to cover being off long-term sick or ill.
Okay. And I guess like even just listening to you speak there, Could it cover, for example, if you thought, there's so much left on a mortgage, for example, and if something was to happen to me and I couldn't work, the thing that I'd love to do would just be to pay that off, and then I don't have to think about that every month. So you might say, oh, I've got 70 grand left on my mortgage, so I'm going to try and look for a cover that maybe covers that amount. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it could do 100%, but then that is one of the benefits, and I know we might come on to this later, of working with a financial advisor, is there might be a cheaper product that is available for you for paying off the mortgage. It could be like, we call it a decreasing term life insurance policy. There's a mouthful for you. So there might be something that's slightly cheaper than a critical illness cover that would do that. So yeah, there's lots of different things, but it could cover that.
Amazing. And in terms of, again, we touched on it just briefly before as well, but we've heard about critical illness cover, we've heard about income protection. From what you said, critical illness cover is this one bulk payment, tax-free, covers whatever you would need it to cover, dependent on your circumstances, whether that's home adaptations, whether that's a world cruise, whether that's paying off a mortgage, whatever you'd need in that moment. We've also heard, and we did a Friday Finance on this as well, about income protection, which we know is an insurance policy that if we're suddenly sick, injured, and we're covered for it, then we'll get a monthly amount coming as well. Do people need critical illness cover, income protection, both, or is that again completely dependent on circumstances?
Affordability as well. So it's if they can afford it, then try and get like what you can to cover, if that's in your circumstances. But critical illness insurance is typically taken out alongside other types of insurance, such as life insurance or income protection. It is often combined with life insurance policies, and quite often for not that much more money. So if you've got life insurance, they consider it what they call a bolt-on, to have critical illness cover bolted on, so that, say for instance, you have a life insurance for £100,000, then just as an example, if, for instance, you're diagnosed as being critically ill, then you would get a certain amount, say you could have it as £100,000 given to you for the critical illness cover, but then the policy ends. So you don't get critical illness cover and life insurance. It's kind of, it pays out on the first event. So the amount of cover that you would need, like say for critical illness cover or for income protection, would depend on debts. Do you have any children? What work benefits do you have? What's your take-home pay, mortgage, rent payments, and other kind of insurance products that you have? And you can just adjust the amount of cover you take out according to your needs and monthly payments.
And again, I think it's just such a key reason why it's so useful to be working alongside someone like you, Ruth, that can help you understand those questions. Because I think we've touched on this a lot of times before. It's really easy to head to Google and to pop in, I want this. But actually, those small nuances and those small things just to take into account can really be the difference between us getting a payout that actually helps us, maybe us getting a payout at all, and us spending money on something 100%. That we can guarantee is going to wipe its face at the end of the day and do what we want it to do if we are put in that position. So I love what you said there. And I think, again, anyone that's been part of anything that we've done with VetYou will know that Ruth is very kind with her time and helping people be guided through this. So if this is something of interest, we'll signpost at the end a little bit more. But one of the things you did touch on, and you were saying about like family conditions, if any of us have got pre-existing conditions already, maybe we've not taken out critical illness cover yet, how does that affect it?
Well, first of all, don't hesitate, reach out and ask. Don't think that you're going to automatically be excluded for whatever reason. If you're considered at risk for a particular condition, perhaps because of pre-existing health issues, that illness could be excluded from the policy. So you'd still be able to get it, but that might be excluded. Or it might be included, but you might have to pay like a higher amount per month to have that included. So I guess it comes down to cost and what's going to affect the cost of like critical illness cover. So like I said, it could be your age, it could be whether you smoke, current health conditions, your job, because obviously some occupations are a bit more hazardous than others. People that are in the field compared to people that are in practice, and also the level of cover that you have. So yeah, don't hesitate, reach out if it's something that you're just considering. Don't think a pre-existing health condition would stop you from getting it.
Thank you so much. And so much of that parallels what we're talking to pet owners and our clients about as well with regard to insurance too. So just having someone on board that can really be an advocate for you and help you figure out what's going to suit you best. And I think an interesting thing actually that came out of a few of the other conversations we've had recently, Ruth, is that potentially having critical illness cover could help with things like mortgage applications and other things in life too. Is that right?
It really can. So it was quite interesting in that obviously if you have it, you think you don't have to have it, but you can have it, but it really helps. And providers like, oh, that's brilliant. That's answered this question then, just because you have it. And it can be quite a small amount per month, depending on conditions that you may have, that it costs you.
And just to check, because I know this would have been me, and this has been me at previous times in my life. At previous points, hands up, I have gone on Google and I have taken policies out. And it has said, do you have any pre-existing conditions? I'll be like, probably not. I have rectified this since, I'll be open. If somebody has done that and they're sat there thinking, oh, you know what? I don't know whether this policy is going to pay out. I've got one. It goes out of my bank every month. I probably did do just what you're talking about. Went to Google, got one, went, yeah, tick, 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 done. That's it. It comes out every month. And they're starting to think, oh my goodness, is that fit for purpose?
Yeah.
Is there anything they can do?
Yes, they can. Thanks working with yourself, we offer complimentary protection health checks. So they just need to email into you, and then what we can do is just check if that is right for them. And I have to say, literally this morning, I got off a call with one of the protection specialists who said, I've looked at this policy for the client and it's absolutely fit for purpose and for her needs. There's nothing we can do. Keep it as it is. It's right for her. And then I got a message from the client to say, this is fantastic. Yeah, thank you. I've got peace of mind knowing it is right. And that, there's nothing that needs to be done. But to the same extent, it could be the other way, where you just want to make sure with this health check that it is right for you and it is right for your needs, and that it's going to pay out should anything happen.
Brilliant. And I don't know about anyone else, but that would give me such peace of mind to be able to have someone else go through that and say, yeah, no, this is okay. And I know we've talked a lot about the protection health check for income protection already, and just checking that covers for other policies as well.
Think of it as it's like an all-over protection MOT. So we're looking at income protection, we're looking at critical illness cover, we're looking at life insurance, mortgage cover, anything like that, even down to if people own their own businesses, insurance that you can get for your business as well. So we just double check that it is the right thing for you, because it's so sad when people have had these policies, paid them out of their disposable income, and then they don't pay out. We make sure, and we have something called the St. James's Place guarantee. So it guarantees the suitability of my advice both now and in the future, so that you are covered exactly for what I say you are. And that is something that is exclusive to St. James's Place, who I work with.
Wow. And that really does give you permission to sleep at night. I know on a personal level, I've had family members, close friends that have ended up using their critical illness cover, and seeing what a difference that's made to them to be able to have that chunk of cash, whether that's to pay the mortgage off, whether that's to buy a more suitable vehicle, whether that's to just actually give them and the partner a break so that they can digest what's happened and then get them back on the feet again afterwards. So if anyone's wondering, I absolutely love actually that protection health check and the guarantee as well covers everything, because even as a part of VetYou, and you covered various policies, but just amazing. And we're going to get details in the comments as well. So if anyone is interested in that with Ruth, essentially you'll email hello@vetyou.co.uk, tell us that you're interested in a protection health check. We'll then ask you for certain details to be sent across to Ruth. There's like 10 different things, and it literally is in terms of like your name, your email address, a few contact details, a couple of more specific ones as well, but they're very secure with Ruth and her team. It is, as she jokes, like Fort Knox getting in there. There's all sorts of
NASA.
bio data protection and things. So you don't need to send those to us at VetYou. You just need to email hello@vetyou.co.uk. Paul or myself or Ebony or Matt will then introduce you to Ruth and say, hey, this is Ruth. Can you send her across these? You then will get a phone call within, it's usually about 24 hours, isn't it? If it's during the week that they'll be in touch. Then they'll book in to do, it's about, I'm taking your job if you hear, Ruth. I'm making sure I can say this all properly. It's about a 30-minute chat, isn't it, essentially, that they'll then have with you, and they'll just go through and just do a little mini fact find. Go away, research everything, come back to you, and they loop Ruth into all of this as well. So although you're going to have your own protection specialist that is going to kind of hold your hand through it, Ruth is the overseer of it as well, and she's going to be keeping her eye and going, yep, no, that's great. And therefore questions as well. So if anyone is interested, I mean, to me, it's a total no-brainer to be able to have that peace of mind, to have everything checked out, know it's going to pay. And I think my final question, and I think we've probably covered it pretty much already, is how can a financial advisor actually help with critical illness cover? As if we haven't touched on this many times, but just as a final close.
You know, it is a potentially, like I've said, complicated product, because we want to make sure that it's right for you. And there can be a lot of stress and heartache when a claim isn't paid out for somebody. So you want to make sure that it's right. And the best way to get what you need is to get advice from someone like myself who can take you through the details. And we go through all the different policies and make sure that we choose the right one for you that is correct based on past kind of conditions or anything that may have happened. And instead of you being on the phone to providers, that's what we do for you. But we just need your initial time to just go through a couple of questions, because we need to ask those questions on your behalf.
And again, like we said so many times with this chat as well, just make sure we've got that whole skyline view of everything that's going on, and you don't end up doing what I did, where I'm like, oh, I don't have any pre-existing conditions. Oh, I just forgot that I had many conditions all through my life and they just weren't affecting me in that moment. Like I say, that's been sorted, but just know there's someone that's in your corner. So thank you so much, Ruth. I think in summary, checking that I have learnt this correctly as well. So critical illness cover is a cover that is going to pay out one lump sum payment if you, God forbid, end up with one of the listed conditions that is on your policy. That could be like between 30 to 50 different ones, depending on who you go with. Again, that is tax-free, and you might have that in line with whatever you think you would foresee needing help with at that point. So like we've said, that might be, oh, if something happened to me, I'd like to do this. I'd like to pay the mortgage off. I'd like to
like improvements to the house.
All those
I mean,
things.
not home improvements as in I'm going to redecorate. I mean, like if you need wheelchair
ramps,
access or something like
that kind of thing. And the people that it would be useful for, dependent on affordability, would be those that have maybe got a family history of conditions. If you've got family, if you do have things that you think might immediately change, if say you were to get one of these illnesses or conditions, and then just again looking at that in line with other policies as well and seeing what suits you as an individual. Is that right?
It is right. I mean, it can even be down to simply, I got it because you hear all the time that 1 in 2 people get cancer throughout, in their life. And that really scares me. And I just think, well, if I get cover and I get protection, God forbid if anything happens, at least there might be something that I can leave for somebody, or I can just enjoy the last of my life. And it's a horrible thing to think about, but you prepare for the worst, but you hope for the best. And that's what this does.
Definitely. And I know I touched on it before, but I've got personal experience of people very close to me using these policies and seeing just what a difference it's made. And believe me, they never thought they'd ever have to use them. And I'd really hope that none of you listening will ever have to use them, but it's such a peace of mind to know that they're there as well. So if anyone does want to get in touch with Ruth, I will drop her Calendly link as well in the comments, so you can pick a time, you can book in with her. If you just want to fast track and do that protection health check, you can also do that by dropping us an email, and we can get the ball rolling with that. Like, we're here to help. This is why we put so much time into VetYou, because we're not taught this stuff. So actually, we're here just saying, look, we've got someone that's super keen to help this industry, this profession. She knows the stuff inside out. She's got a whole team behind her. Let's not have sleepless nights over, oh my goodness, what if this happens? What if that happens? There's someone here. So we will be back next Friday talking again about another financial topic. I'm going to put Ruth on the spot here. Ruth, are there any topics you would like to showcase next Friday? Because we have not yet locked one in.
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. What have I had a lot of questions of? Pensions always comes up time and time again. It's something that we can ask. Maybe we can put a little poll on VetYou or and see if there's a certain one that people would like us to cover more.
Yeah, absolutely. We will do that in BSGD Careers. I will check with Ebony, who is one of the VetYou team and also the founder of VSGD, and ask her. And we'll just pop in 6 or 8 topics. You can vote for which one you'd like to hear a little bit more about. I know pensions is always super, super popular, but we did that one last week. So go and check it out. Life insurance, yep, we can look at covering that. Let's do a poll. Let's see what everyone wants to hear from. And again, just a huge thank you, everybody, for being here. We hope that you've learned something. Let us know what your key take home has been in the chat as well, because we would love to know, and hopefully it's been helpful to you. So take care, everybody, and we shall see you next Friday.